Hello everyone, Stockmaster here back at it again. Right now it's 8:51 p.m. where I'm at. First of all, I just want to say that everything I'm saying is speculative, so invest at your own risk, okay? Take the good, leave the bad, the old saying, right? So today I'm going to be talking about Intel. Is Intel dying? That's the main question. That's the main question I get from all my friends, people I've met and I've talked stock with, and they bring up Intel, one of the biggest chip maker, right? And they're like, "Is Intel dying?" And I myself am really bullish on Intel. So these are my standpoint, my perspective on Intel, and why I believe Intel's not dying. Intel's almost at the bottom. It could still bottom out more, lower. You know what I'm saying? Lower the price, but it could grow. It has a big upside. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so let's first look at recently there was news, right? Big one news came out, and then Intel jumped up $3, right? Everyone made a big deal about it. Oh, why did Intel jumped up? Well, 3 LLC letter came out, right? And they're like, oh, Intel should change their investment strategy. But Intel has already announced that already. That I think it was during their next, it's called earnings, right? They're gonna announce what their new plans are and how they're gonna invest and how they're gonna, it's called, grow their company to beat their competitors, right? So it's already been said, but if you want to look it up, search this up. I'll leave it on the screen for a second, and then read it for yourself. But this definitely made Intel jump up a little the last few days, and of course they made an announcement that they're going to work 30 point, so that's a good thing for them because they do need a new strategy on how to profit, how to market, and whatnot. All right, so competition wise, right? Next topic. AMD, Nvidia. Let's talk about those two first. So those two are, it's called, they're good competition, and they're a really good company. So AMD, I myself, I have a, it's called, I own Intel right now, but my PC is AMD. Intel laptop, PC, AMD. AMD is really good. Their performance to price value is really good, and that's a place that Intel's lacking in, right? Their their items cost a lot, but their performance doesn't. It's not up to par to AMD or Nvidia. But first, let's look at both stock, right? So I just want to talk about Nvidia really fast. And one I want you guys to look at is when we look at Nvidia, right? No, actually AMD. Sorry. So let's talk about AMD really fast. When we look at AMD, I usually do year to date to compare. In the beginning of January, we were sitting at 48, right? Right now, we're currently sitting at 92. They're at their top. So if you want to profit a lot, right? You go with something that is at the bottom. So if we started back in January and we got in at $48, that would have been great. We would have what's called 100% increase within our investment. But right now, it's not too late to get into. AMD is definitely going to keep growing, but it won't grow as fast as I believe that Intel will grow when they make a comeback. And of course, let's look at the. So I made some notes. Right, revenue comparison market. So I want you guys to remember this part. I'll come back and talk about it in a bit too. But let's say the revenue, right? So let's look at the market cap first. 111 billion, right? And of course, the revenue is on the second page. Statistic. So I'm trying to be fair here. So the revenue will be 8.65 billion, right? Right here. All right. So now let's look at, bam. Let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia right now is really high. The market cap is 321 billion, and the revenue is down here 14.78 billion, right? But let's look at the chart really fast. See. All right, there. Year to date. All right, so let's say that we got it in when the pandemic hit around March. It would be 196, right? 5 times our money we would have made on Nvidia. But right now they went up 500%. So what does that look like, right? Does that mean that are they gonna climb up faster now? They might be at their top already. We don't know, right? And I don't know anything about Nvidia whether they reverse split I'm not sure about that. I don't have to look into the stock too much. But if they did, that's the reason why the price jumped so high. Maybe that's why. But if this is all growth right here, right? Then they're at their top already, and jumping in right now is still a good time, but it wouldn't make sense to if you're trying to profit a lot from. It's basically, like get the bang for your buck, right? So let's look at okay. So another competition, right? So about a couple weeks ago, Apple and Microsoft came out with articles about, oh, they're gonna make their own chips now, and a lot of people are saying, dang, Intel's losing. It's called they're losing Apple and Microsoft customers. But the thing is that a lot of people don't realize that Apple and Microsoft customers aren't big Intel. Let's call Intel customer. So the revenue that Intel gets from Apple and Microsoft doesn't make that big of an impact on the company itself. And if you do more research, you could find that. I believe I have the article. If I don't, then okay. So I have one article right about Apple. So of course, Intel, it's called gives us chips. They work with Apple, right? But if they divert their resource away from Apple, they have other channels they could get into, right? So let's talk about what they could spend there on, right? So right here at the bottom, right here, workloads, data, AI, security. So a lot of people talk about AI. Or, Intel's becoming an AI company, not really a chip company anymore. That's good for Intel if that's true, and that is becoming true. And I will go more in depth on that part within a bit. But this is just a perfect example of why it's actually good that Apple, and Microsoft are doing their own thing. They're big companies, they're credible, and they're good stocks to look into too. But the thing is that with these two companies, they're so big that they should do their own stuff, and they should so they don't have to it's called focus on another place like Intel. They don't have to rely on Intel basically, and that's good for them, and that's good for Intel too, because Intel could start focusing their attention on else. Let's call it other places. All right. So the next thing is All right. So a lot of people are saying that, oh, Intel's dying. They're losing support from other companies, right? But the first thing we're gonna do is let's talk about the other company, and then we'll look at Intel's data. Let's see. So these are some good news, but let's talk about this one first. Okay, so CDCW, right? They're a good company too, actually. So you guys should look at them. And what they're basically doing with Intel is that, and this is recent too, CDW to bring new solutions to a market that solves customer business challenges. So right now, it's called Intel's having customer business challenges. Their products is not up to par. It's not customers don't like it. So CW comes in and they help with that area. But let's look at what is CW, right? Is it a good stock? Is it reliable? Is it a good company basically? Yeah, they're actually pretty good. I didn't even know about CW until I did my research, right? So CDW is actually pretty. They're not big. The market has 18.5 billion, but look at the P/E ratio, 25.64, pretty high, decent P/E ratio. What does that mean? That means that investors believe that they have great potential, great growth potential. So if you want to look at CDW, definitely go look at it. I'm gonna do more research on it. Maybe I'll talk about it in my next video. All right, so now let's go back to Intel, right? All right, so year to date, always year to date. Right now, Intel, the bottom I believe was around 43, around somewhere over here when the pandemic hit. When we started in January, it was shooting up. Bam, $68. That's the top. And then pandemic happened, it shot down 45, and of course it came back a little, and then products didn't do too well. A lot of media played a big role too, talking about how bad Intel's doing, people selling off the share because they're scared of that Intel's dying off. But if you look at it, Intel is trading at $48.75. That is so close to the bottom. What? I don't know how, like $5 to the bottom of the year, right? So what does that mean? Upside, way big potential upside. If it doesn't double, $25 upside. And I believe that Intel is a big company, they're credible, and competition is good. And AMD, Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft leaving. This is good competition for Intel. because Intel could come in, right? And they're like, we need to work on our products. We need to find out the reason. Intel's a big company. They're smart. They will fix their products and they'll come back up. And here's why I say that, okay? So earlier I said, remember the market cap, right? Intel has 199.778 billion market cap. Now let's look at AMD. 110, and it's double the price right now. The market cap is bigger. Well, I mean, it's lower, and the stock's higher. And of course, let's look at the revenue, right? Revenue 8.65 billion, right? The thing about Intel is that although Intel stock is dropping, their revenue is crazy right here. Profit margin 28%, right? Revenue 78 billion revenue this year. So how much do they have there? Operating cash flow. They have 35.38 billion cash flow to operate. And then of course, free cash flow. What do they do with that money? To fix their product. They have money to fix their product to come back. And of course, let's look at Nvidia, right? Hey, these are, like I said, AMD and Nvidia are great stocks. Not putting them down, but I'm just comparing market cap. Nvidia has a bigger market cap, 325, about 3 times more than Intel. No, about 2 times more, almost 2 times more, right? 1.5, more or less. Okay, so let's go look at their revenue, right? It's in the statistics. Yeah. Let's look at the revenue. 14.78. Compare 14.78 to Intel's, right? 14.78 to 78.1. Nvidia is stock is growing, but the profit and the revenue and everything is way behind Intel. That's the thing. All right, so let's go to the next one, right? And that's you could do your DD, you could research. That's why I'm so bullish on Intel. They have a lot of money to fix their problems, so they're not dying. I believe that they're not dying. The next part, right? Some good news. Over the last 3 years, they've been working on stuff to grow their needs of customer to help the customer needs, right? To focus on what customer wants and so on. You can look at the 10 nm, the 14 nm, a lot of stuff coming out. And then let's go to the one I want to talk about. All right. So the next topic, Intel not just a chip company anymore; it's an AI company. What does that mean? A lot of people are saying that, right? So I at first I thought, oh, Intel's still a big chip company in the industry, right? But it's leaning more towards AI, and I found out Nvidia is actually within the AI area too. Only AMD doesn't have AI area, but once AMD comes out with the AI section, AMD's gonna go crazy. I'm just saying. All right, so Intel, right? They're gonna acquire SigOpt. What is SigOpt, right? First of all, it's been announced. I believe it's announced. It's right here, October 29th. And of course, there's no official date yet. I've been looking for the official date of the merge or the acquire. Right? They're gonna acquire this big company. And they have not announced the official date yet. And I believe it will be sometime within 2021. And what does that mean? That means that Intel will jump once that is announced. So let's say, what is SigOpt, right? And I mentioned AI. SigOpt is based in San Francisco, I believe California, a leading platform for optimization of artificial intelligence, AI softwares, models at scale. So they're really big within AI. What does that mean? That means Intel is going towards the AI section. And that's really good for Intel because that's the right move. AI is becoming the next thing. And so once this is announced, the price, I believe that the price will jump. And right now is the perfect time to get in because it's almost at the bottom. It's, you know, the 52-week low, it's near that area. So it's good to get in because the upside is really big. So final thoughts and personal, right? See if I have anything here. Oh yeah, that's when I was looking for the announcement. Double checking because I already checked a few weeks ago, but there was nothing. But today I just want to double check. Anyway, my final thoughts, right? my final thoughts are that I believe that Intel will not die. Intel will keep growing. Intel has revenue. Intel has money. Intel has play money, actually, and they're gonna acquire Sigdop to help their AI section out. Intel is gonna become big, and they have all the time in the world to beat their competitors. And I believe the competition is really good. So it's like playing a sport, right? If your competition is not good, how are you gonna better yourself? Basically, the same thing as Intel. If their competition is not doing great, how are they gonna become the best they can be? How can they become better? Because there is no top. They are at the top. The things that when when you see someone else at the top, you're like, "Dang, I want to be that person. Well, I want to be better than that person," and that will motivate Intel. That's what I believe. So that's why I'm bullish. Anyways, this video went on for quite a while. Take what you like, take what you don't like. Please subscribe and like the video. And of course, like I said, disclaimer: this is all personal speculation. Invest at your own risk. So if you lose money, it's on you. But this is my thought, Intel. And also, please share the video. Have a great night or day.